Hello. All right. Just doing another get ready and talk about some stuff because, so actually here's something interesting, but like Baskin Robbins here makes a water. This is peach yogurt. That's good. Anyway, so recently, like right after I made that video I made, my computer died. Like the screen broke. This is the second time that this has happened to me with the computer I have. So I'm gonna film this like kind of on my phone, but I'm not gonna be able to really edit it on my computer. So I'm gonna see if I can find a way to edit it on my phone and still like upload something. So because of that, we're going to try to keep it as simple as possible, which is why I'm just doing something like this. And I thought it would be interesting then to kind of just talk about like interesting Korean kind of things, like things that were like, oh, that was interesting, didn't know it, didn't realize it until I got here sort of situations. And I don't know if I'm not really gonna do a list, or I am gonna do a list, but I don't know how many things I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna kind of go with it and explain along the way. There's no rhyme or reason, it's just how it's happening. But first we're gonna start with makeup for the day, an outfit for the day. So one interesting thing, and this actually kind of explains the style of like YouTube videos that I am going to be making. One interesting thing about Korea is their kind of like privacy laws on like the public and what can be filmed and what cannot be filmed, or like who can be filmed and who cannot be filmed. So in Korea, you can't, so like I'm from America. So in America, if I'm in like a public space and I take a picture of myself and there are people in the background and I upload it onto Instagram or any sort of social media, it's no big deal. It's whatevs. This is a chapstick, but it's a sunscreen chapstick. It's really sunny here. It's no big deal. In Korea, it is a big deal. Like you can be sued for that because you're like putting someone's image out into the public and they did not consent to that. So that's why you'll see in a lot of YouTube videos, if you watch like YouTube videos where the creators are from Korea, like they're filming in Korea, everybody's faces in the background are all like blocked or like blurred out, or they have like little, emojis on them. You'll see that when people like post social media stuff on their Instagrams and stuff like that, like people will be blurred or have emojis on them, blah blah blah. And it's because you can't actually post that stuff without people's permission. And it's not like people go around just like suing people willy-nilly, but like it does happen and they have every right to if they want to. And so especially if you're like a bigger YouTube creator, like if you take if I were to take a picture, like a touristy picture, and put that on my Facebook in America, and there was like some people in the background, like nothing, it's whatever. But like if you're putting it on YouTube, and especially if you were like a bigger content creator and like lots of people would see it, like you could actually get sued for that. So, just like for me, like I'm just kind of like lazy daisy, and I don't necessarily want to go through frame by frame, blurring out people and putting emojis on their faces all day long. This stuff, by the way, I got this in Korea. It's like an all-day fix all day makeup prep kind of a thing, but I like it. It's lightweight. And then this is also like the foundation I like to use. Cushion foundations are very popular here, but I don't really see them a lot in America. I don't know if maybe it's just the area I was in, but it's like a cushion foundation, so you just like push it on there a few times, and then like the really important, I'm actually starting to run out, I need some more. The really important thing is then you tap the excess off here so it doesn't go on cakey and all that jazz. But anyway, I just don't want to have to go through having to edit that much. And so I prefer not do that. And actually, you see that a lot with Korean made content. It's like a lot of time you see like tourist things where they'll film like their feet, like they'll film themselves walking to a spot, or they just film like the food and stuff like that. It's because like nobody wants to be editing all these people out of their shots. So I am not the only one who does not feel like doing that. So there might be some times that I film out and about things, but it'll be very specific because I don't want to have to spend a ton of time editing that sort of thing. And especially right now, since my computer screen is broken, and I'm just going to be seeing if I can edit everything and upload everything using my phone for the next couple whenevers, that I really, really don't want to do stuff like that. I just want to be able to shoot and go, so to speak. Yeah, so that is an interesting cultural, I guess you could say, maybe that's what I'll say, cultural shocks I've experienced while being in Korea. So that was like an interesting kind of like cultural shock. Another one is like cursing in Korea. You don't really hear people like cursing in Korean because it's considered like really like frowned upon, but also like unlawful. Like if you just curse at somebody, like if you're like, this will happen like America, people just get like in arguments and they'll like yell at people, and you see it on like, I mean, I've never done this, but like you can see it on like reels or YouTube shorts, or like, you know, just type in American gets angry or whatever, Florida or something like that. And you'll see people like, they'll be at like a gas station or like their waiter or something, and something will happen that they don't like, and they just like cuss them out. I've been really into this pink kind of palettes lately, and they'll just curse them out. You don't like see that in Korea, and it's because like it's actually straight up like illegal to curse at somebody like that. Like if you like curse at somebody, like you don't like something your waiter did or something like that, and you're like, this should be taken off. I'm like, fuck you. All right, sorry. Dang it. Frick you. Swear word. Now I'm gonna have to see if I can edit out that swear. So that's super annoying. Any hoozles, they say that you can like call the police over that and be like, well, this person was being like crazy out of pocket. It's not really like allowed. It's like a serious thing. And again, you know, I'm not saying like people like just go around calling the police for that sort of thing, but it's like you can call you can press charges against somebody for like being like that towards you. And I mean, it makes for a peaceful environment, so I don't miss all the shouting and yelling, I'll tell you that for free. But it's just like an interesting thing, like I said. But what is also kind of interesting is like that only counts for like Korean swearing. They just do not care about like English swearing. I suppose it's not their language, so like what do they care about it? But it is kind of wild. It's like a culture shock for you as a person, because you'll hear like I've heard like little kids just drop the F-bomb or like throw up their middle finger, like, and they're not being like mean or aggressive or malicious. Like to them, it's just like, I don't know, I think that they think it's like a cool like thing to do. Like there's no like editing out that stuff in like music or stuff like that. Like people just be playing these songs and you're like, is that the thong song? Do you all know what that is at this children's cafe? Okay, I've never heard that at a children's cafe, but I've heard some things. And I've like heard some like kids like just throw down, like they'll be playing and they'll like be like, I know English, what the? And then swear word, and you're like, that is English. That is English, but we don't generally throw that out in the public. And to like really put it into perspective, there's this barbecue place that Adam and I like have to go see because it's called Effin' Barbecue and like spelled out that way. And it's on the sign and everything. Like it's just crazy for me. So that again, that's like an American culture shock, because I'm sure if you're like, you were from like, you know, India or the Philippines or something where like English isn't like the main language, and like if you didn't know English, you would walk past a place like that and, you know, not give it like a second thought. But because I am American and English is my first language, I'm like, you can do that here? And they can do that here. So that is, that's like another kind of like a culture shock. Um, Another one, I don't know if I would say it's like a culture, I don't know if I would say it's like a culture shock, but it was just like surprising. Um, it just, they, you, how do I say this? It's like, so like in like in my area in America, like, you know, it gets to be like 8, 9 o'clock, like people take their like kids home, like it's getting kind of like late or whatever. But here in Korea, like they don't really, like you'll see um like kids out and about well into the night, like, you know, 10 o'clock, like if you're going to like Korean barbecue or something like that, and you're going like with like your family, you got like the kids there and whatnot, they'll just be eating, chilling, chatting with family, and it'll get to be like 10 o'clock, and they'll like still just be like hanging out, chilling, having a good time. Like at the one place that we like to go to, they have like a little play place, so like the kids can just be like sitting there like playing, and there's like no like nobody's like kind of being like judgy Judy's of they'll be like, well, isn't your kid in bed right now? It's 10 o'clock kind of a thing, because it's just like it's fine. Um, you know, it's just like chill. And so you'll also, I think because of that, uh, there is also like less of an environment of like, not saying like people do drink and like they get drunk and stuff like that, but you don't really see like, you're not going to see like, at least like not like in the area we're in, maybe because it's a little bit more like family friendly or something like that. Like where we don't live in like, you know, a club scene sort of area. We're on like, Seoul's like party district or anything like that. We're just in like a Koje chill section. So because of this, like you're not seeing like little like drunken brawls in the street, or like if you're like walking home, like there's not like drunk people like cat calling you or something like that. Like you just walk home like a normal person. And it's just like very kind of like chill. And also and because like there are, you know, you just never know, like there will be like sometimes there'll be like small kids as, you know, young as like my daughter like 3, but like you also see a lot of like teens and things like that out and about, especially because a lot of them have like different academies after school, so even during the week you'll see this. So like and some like academy classes and things like that don't get done until like 9, or I think some places will even go to like 10. And so you'll see, so especially like not usually for like the little kids, but like high schoolers and stuff. So you'll see like high schoolers and stuff like that. It'll be like 10, 11 o'clock at night. They'll just be gathered at like a convenience store eating ramen with their friends and like joking around and stuff like that, or like hanging out at the park while they like eat and before they go home. So it's like kids are like out and about like a lot. So I think that they, in general, I guess maybe just try to be respectful of that. And then also they're more, I think a little bit like more respectful when it comes to like even like the smoking culture, because hold on, I'm drawing a false cut crease right now because it's been something I've been into lately. So I'm like making my crease look a little bit higher to make my eyes look a little bit, well, actually it's not, I heard, and I feel like it does work, but I heard that doing this just helps emphasize like big eyes. So maybe if you had small eyes, it might help them make, I don't know if you could do this for like everybody. I have double hooded, like I have hooded eyes, so I read that this was good for that. So I've been trying it out lately and I've liked it, but it takes some concentration when I'm drawing it. But anyway, so like let's say, so like smoking, people do smoke here, and you'll see it, you know, like all kind of like over the place. But what's interesting is they try to be respectful, like the people around them. So like one time, for instance, we were walking and we had, especially with kids, we were walking and we had the kids with us, and we were walking down the street and someone was on the street and they were smoking. They're standing there smoking and they saw us. So they moved to the other side of the street, but we were actually like crossing the street too. So we started crossing, like, and as soon as they saw that we were crossing, they quick ran back to the other side because they didn't want to be standing there smoking when we brought the kids by, because they didn't want the kids to like inhale it in. And they weren't like like irritated about having to move around. They just like do it. And it's the same thing why like you won't see like a lot of people, at least in our area, again, I can't speak for all of Korea, but at least in our area, you don't really see a lot of people walking and smoking at the same time. Because like the idea is if you're walking and smoking, then you're like walking past people, you're leaving like a trail behind you. So it's like you're affecting like other people's. They'll normally just stay in there, wherever they're smoking, they'll just stay there, smoke their cigarette, and then like start going. So again, like, you know, if there's nobody around and it's late at night, you might see somebody like doing that or whatever, but it's just like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone walking and smoking in the daytime, like, since we've been here. And we've been here for like 4 months. And like I said, like a lot of people do, you know, they do have like a smoking culture. There's a lot of people that do smoke, but I have yet to see anybody just out and about in the daytime walking and smoking like that. So that's kind of like, I thought that was interesting. Also, just cigarettes in general, that was kind of a culture shock because by law in Korea, they have like the packaging. I've heard a few different times like people have lobbied to put packaging like this on cigarettes in America, and it just like has not happened. But in Korea, they put like very graphic, like this is what happens if you smoke pictures. So like you'll see the packaging and it's like just like up there and about, and it's like, you know, teeth falling out, like cancer, like just all like the pictures are very, very like very, very graphic, and they have the packaging on all of their cigarettes. And I don't know, like I wonder if like, I don't know if you can show cigarette packaging on like YouTube, but it is like, I'm telling you, when you walk into a convenience store and you see a full wall behind the cashier of these cigarettes, that was a culture shock. Like that was jarring because it's like, it's not pretty. I'll tell you that. Like it is, it doesn't look good. But I don't know if I can actually show that like on YouTube because it is still technically like a tobacco product and things like that. But they're creepy, like the packaging is creepy. And then sometimes you'll like see, like you'll be walking about and someone has like thrown their carton package on the ground, and so all of a sudden you'll just get like a surprise, like creepy, ugly looking picture just pops up at you, and you're like, ugh. And so that's not very fun. Here's another thing I got here that I really, really like. It's like, you can use it for your lips and your cheeks. It's like soft, kind of moussey looking. I really, really like it for my cheeks though. Yeah, the cigarette things are crazy. Drinking kind of stuff is also kind of crazy. That was like a culture shock. Like we went to this like shabu shabu buffet kind of thing, and the buffet included beer. Like they had like a tap, and you could just go up there and you can just serve like yourself. The other thing that is also like was a culture shock that I thought was really wild is like in America, like if you go to like you go to a bar or something and you order a drink, you can't just take that and like you don't finish that drink by the time like your friends want to leave or something like that. You can't just like take that bottle with you. But like in Korea, if you like go down and you know, like Adam and I have done this where we'll like go and maybe order, like we're ordering soju or makgeolli or something like that. And it gets to the end and we're like ready to go and we haven't finished it. We just put the cap back on and we leave with it. Like you can just leave with it, like because you bought it. Like they're like, well, you bought it, take it with you, like finish it at home. But that was like a culture shock because that's like a no-go in America. You cannot do that. So I feel like if you're Korean and you're going to America, this would be an interesting thing for you to know because you would think that you would just be able to take it with you. But like in America, if you go to the bar and you get like a can or a bottle of beer, something like that, the bartender will open it for you, and then they will keep, like if it's a bottle, you never get that beer with like the cap with it. Like you can't just be putting the cap back on there. And also like a lot of ours are like the tab ones, but in Korea you will have bottles, like a lot of theirs are for like soju and things like that are like twist tops, and so you can put it back on there. And so then, yeah, you can just take it with you later. So that was kind of like, I was like, oh my goodness, that's kind of like wild. That was kind of like wild. And they also don't really have like any, like, it doesn't seem like they really have like any kind of like open carry, like drinking in public kind of laws. Like, as long as you're not being a nuisance, like, you're good to go. So you'll see people, they'll get food from like the convenience store, drinks from the convenience store, and they'll just be sitting in front of the convenience store, like on the picnic benches and stuff like that, like drinking. You'll see people like drinking like in the park. You know, just again, as long as you're like not being a nuisance, like you're just being chill, like they don't really care. And that was another kind of like interesting culture thing. It's like Koreans, it does not seem like they eat and walk at the same time. Like, if you're eating food, if you're like having a meal, then it's like a sit down, like chill sort of event. Like, you don't want to just be, why would you, should I wear this today? I think I will wear this with lip gloss. You know, why would you rush the meal, so to speak? So even at like convenience stores, you can get like food there, but they'll have seating in the convenience stores or outside the convenience store. A lot of times both. So you can cook your whatever you bought from the convenience store, you can cook it there at the convenience store and then eat it there as well. And obviously you can take it home, but you don't see like a lot of people like eating a sandwich and walking somewhere. Like, it just doesn't seem to be a thing. This stuff I try to apply in the center and then I blend out. So again, I don't know if that's just the area that I'm in, but I don't know. I don't think that I think that it isn't just the area that I am. I think it's just like a way that it is here. Like, I think if I went anywhere else in the Korea, you'd see the same thing. I'd be curious to find out, like, if there's somebody who lives in a different area or has gone to different places. You'll say, but I think it's like really only like festivals, like snack kind of things. During like a festival, like maybe I see it kind of like there, but never in the day-to-day life. And you never, ever, ever see anybody, I've never, ever, ever seen anybody like eat on like the bus or in the taxis. Like, it's not allowed. For the taxis, it's messy. Like, what if you spill something? It's annoying. For the bus, kind of like same thing, but also it's about like the smell. Like, Korean food is pretty, you know, spicy. It has like a smell to it. And it's like you're in an enclosed space. So they're like, be respectful of others. And, you know, you don't need to be eating your food in front of everybody and having that smelling up the bus and whatnot. So that's also kind of like a little bit of a interesting cultural aspect. Perfume. I like this. It's Coach. I really like that one. I am kind of smell sensitive, so I don't like to like have too much of scent. I like it to be like a bit more subtle. Like, you have to lean in to smell it. So I really like this one because I feel like it's like that. And then let me see. Last but not least, it's hair. And I still have not figured out a great thing to do with my straightener. So it's still on the floor. And that's just how that is. The garbage, the like recycling setup, that was a huge culture shock, because I'm gonna tell you this right now, we're not recycling in America. That's what I've learned here. I would like to just apologize to the rest of the world, because we're not doing our part apparently in America. Because in America you have two garbages. You have your garbage, and then you have the blue one that's for recycling. And to be honest, I don't think any of us really knows what goes in there. So if it's like paper or plastic or cardboard, we like throw it in there. And we really don't know what happens like later. Like I've worked at schools before where at the end of the day, when they get the recycling, they all throw it into the same bin. So maybe our whole recycling is just a lie. I don't even know. What I know is that in Korea, it's not a lie. It's very serious. We have in our house, we have 4 garbages. We have our general waste garbage, which is anything that's not recycling. Then we have our paper. Then we have our plastic. Then we have our cans. But then within those 4 like things, there's like, 5 technically, because then we also have our food waste. So within there's like categories. So for your plastics, you have your plastic and vinyl. And so plastic is like this, plastic. But something like when this is done, something like this, vinyl. So like your soft kind of plastics or like your wrappers of things, that would go in like your vinyls. And so like when we go to throw away our garbage, like in our little garbage area, we have to separate, like we now have another bag for vinyl so that we don't have to separate. But before when we first did it, we'd have to like separate the vinyls out and put it into their spot. Then in your paper, you have like your paper, but then you also have your cardboards. So you separate those out once you go to your garbage area. Then for your cans, you have your cans, but you also have your glass. Those are 2 separate things, so you separate those 2 out. And then you have your food waste, which was any, like if you're eating dinner stuff, anything you have like left over, you put that in its own separate container, and you throw that into the food waste garbage in like your, area. And then for food waste, the things that don't count as food waste though are like things like animal bones would go in like general waste, eggshells go in like general waste. But all of these things get like separated out and go into their separate. And then like clothing, if you want to like throw away or like you're done with your clothing and you want to get rid of it or whatever, then there's another separate container or like garbage or whatever out there for like clothing, where only like clothing stuff goes in there. And then you'll see people go through, like workers will go through and make sure things are being separated properly. And if they find out that you're like it's one thing if you like accidentally throw something in something else, because like it happens, like especially with kids when they're first learning the system. But if they see like for instance, they see consistently, like let's say you're throwing your food in your general waste, you will get fined for that. And they like will talk to you about it. They'll be like, hey, what's happening here? So this like it's like the ultimate boss, because like I have my family visiting right now, my sister and my mom. And so explain like for everything, they're like, where does this go? And like that's how it is. Like the first month my husband and I were here, we just Googled everything. Like where does everything go? And because of that, because their like system is so specific, you don't see like public garbages like on the street. So like it's just expected that if you have garbage, if you create garbage when you're out walking about and whatnot, like you will bring it home with you. Like you'll like I carry a little bag now in my purse, so I can put little things in there like the kids do and stuff. I bring a little bag and do that because you're not going to find a garbage just out and about as you're walking around. Like sometimes you might see one by a bus stop because you're not allowed to carry like coffee, drinks or anything. Like you can only carry bottled water. Like that's it. Like you can't have like coffee or other stuff like that. And like they love coffee here in Korea. So I think like sometimes they'll have like a spot there where you can throw that away just because they know people will like have it. But those things will then be like stuffed to the brim. I mean, it is just not like, and you don't see them. And because of that, it's also not really a big thing to do like to go boxes. Like you can like find to go, like you can always ask like, oh, can I take this to go or whatever. But it's not like in America, it's like a given, like you'll be eating a meal and you get to the end and they'll just come by and be like, hey, do you need to go boxes? And that's like not like really a thing there for like 2 reasons. One, like you technically pay. So like so for like my general waste, I have to have a special garbage bag for that. So I have to pay for that garbage bag to throw those things away. And then some places you have to pay for your food waste. And like they'll like you either have to pay for like a bag for it, like a special bag, or they like charge you by pound, or like different areas are different. Some places you just throw it away. in the big container. And it's part of like your maintenance fees or something like that. So it's like a whole thing. So people who are going out to eat, like they don't want to have to deal with that. So they a lot of times don't want to take things to go because they don't want to have to deal with the garbage. And they're like, I paid for this meal, so like you can you can deal with the garbage because like I paid for it. And then the other thing is they're just like, why would you want to eat this later? It's gonna taste better here. And then the third part is like some places won't do it just because if you don't properly store the food and like let's say you leave it out all night and then you eat it the next day and you get sick and then you say like, oh, that place made me sick. They have no way of proving it wasn't like them. So you can get to go boxes and stuff, but it's not like it's not like a given. It's not like a given here. And they won't like ask you. Like I've never, since I've been here, I've never been at a place where they've asked like, hey, do you want a to-go box? They won't ask you that. So garbage, that was a really big kind of culture shock of dealing with that. And then also public bathrooms was a culture shock. That one was a real culture shock, especially if you have kids. Like you need to have a good understanding of this because not all, like a lot of times, like especially in like areas where it's like a bunch of businesses in like one building or whatever, a lot of times like we're used to like restaurants and like convenience stores and everything like having their own bathrooms there. But that's not how it is a lot of times. Like a lot of times they'll have like a shared bathroom of that floor, and then that bathroom actually has like a code, like a password that you have to like put in order to get into the bathroom. And the toilet paper and everything is actually at each establishment. So it's like if I say, let's say I'm at like Hi-O Coffee and oh, I have to go to the bathroom, then I would like look and there'll usually be a sign where it'll say like bathroom and then like a number, which is your code to get into the bathroom. And then there'll be toilet paper next to that sign. And then you grab some toilet paper and then you go to the bathroom, you put in the code, get in, go to the bathroom, and then like you use the toilet paper that you brought with. And my husband, like Adam, always thinks that's so funny because he's like, for guys, it really sucks because if you grab toilet paper, then everybody knows what you're doing in there. And I was like, that's kind of funny. But yeah, so then you have to, and then another thing that just kind of drives me a little bit crazy, and it's something that I tend to keep track of, is not every one of these places, like for some reason, a lot of times they don't have paper towel. And so you just, like, you'll see people like coming out of the bathroom like this, and they're just trying to like dry off their hands as they like walk out. And then sometimes there's not soap, and that's like the one that really kills me because I'm like, oh, but you still, so now it's not a bad idea, like just carry some hands, and a lot of people do, they just carry hand sanitizer in their bag and then just hand sanitize and like go out, or like have soap or whatever it is that they want and like go out. So I highly recommend you doing that as well if you come. And I don't know what the deal is with that. I think maybe it might also just be having to deal with like, maybe with like the garbage system, like nobody wants to be creating more waste than they have to, like even businesses, since they have to like pay for it. So they're like, yo, bring your own, like figure it out yourself in there. We provided a toilet, so what else can we do for you? So that is something that, especially if you have kids, it's not easy to just find a bathroom. But with that being said, like I've noticed, I guess in like the areas I have in, like everyone's like very, very, like this seems to be a very, very kid friendly like culture. And so like if Babs has had to go to the bathroom, never have I ever experienced, you know, going to like a business and being like, my daughter has to go to the bathroom, like where's the bathroom, we're gonna kind of get the code or whatever, and then being like, you have to buy something first. Like never. Like anytime that I've been like oh, bathroom, and they've been like, yes. And in fact, the other day my youngest had to go to the bathroom, and I was like so irritated because I had told her to go to the bathroom before we left the house, and she was like adamant that she didn't have to go. I like sat her on the potty, and she was like, and I could tell in my heart that she was holding it on purpose, just that she did not have to, like, just 'cause she wanted to be right. And I was like, there are no bathrooms where we're going, please, like, please just go to the bathroom. And she was like, wouldn't do it. So then we started walking, and we got like halfway there, and she was like, I have to go to the bathroom. And so then I was like, okay, well, we were going to Paris Baguette. So I was like, well, we're almost there, and hopefully they'll have like a bathroom once we get there. But I wasn't sure because we'd never gone to this Paris Baguette. And so we got there, and they actually did not have like a bathroom. They actually let they let me use, like, they had like an employee bathroom like in the back past like the kitchen stuff, and she actually let me take Babs back there and go to the bathroom. So I was very, very, very like grateful. Because, you know, obviously they didn't have to do that. Like, she could have just been like, we don't have like a public bathroom. But there just wasn't one in this particular like stretch. And the nearest bathroom ended up being way down by like this marketplace, which we found later. And I'm like, now I'm tracking that for future reference. But it was like, she definitely did not have to. She could have just been like, we don't have a bathroom, and called it a day. But she was like, no, like, come back here through all this area. And so she really, you know, helped us out with that. But they are like, I find that they're very, it's like a very kid friendly culture. So even if like your kid's having like a meltdown and stuff like that, like I would notice kind of like in America, if like a kid's kind of having a meltdown, like nobody really likes it. Like everyone's like, oh, that kid's probably a brat. It's really awkward as like the parent, because you're like, kids are gonna have meltdowns. There's nothing you can really do about it. But like everyone's kind of like staring at you, and you know, they want you to make it stop, and you're like, I want to make it stop too, I just don't know how. It's just like an awkward scene. But that's actually never happened here. Like a scene like that. Like usually if a kid is crying or upset or anything like that, like everyone's just like concerned. Like you'll see like all the, you know, a kid will start crying and everyone's like, oh, 괜찮아요? Like, oh, is it fine? Are they fine? Like they want to know what happens. Like we were actually on the bus, and it got like really it was just a really like windy kind of bus, and Baz was like, I don't feel good, I think I'm gonna get sick. And I actually did not have a garbage bag. I usually keep one in my purse, but like that day I just like did not. And actually that's why I've gotten better about it, to be honest, from this story. And she's like, I'm gonna puke. And I was like, she just had her little backpack, so I just quick grabbed everything out of her backpack and like put it in front of her, and she just started throwing up in her backpack. And you know, it's puke, and we're on an enclosed like bus, and it does not smell great, and it does not sound great. And it would not have like if people had been like kind of a thing, like I would not have been surprised. But literally everybody like looks over and they're like, oh, is she okay? What's going on? And like I explained like, oh, like she's getting like motion sick, and they're like, oh, the poor baby, and like giving me kind of advice like, oh, try to rub her tummy, or try to like you know, squeeze it a little, like, hand, like, just, like, you know, do what you can to kind of, like, help. Like, they're just being helpful. Like, being, like, so nice, and, like, asking, like, when do you get off? Kind of like a thing, like, oh, is it going to be too long for her? And luckily, we were going to be getting off soon. But they were all just, like, really, really, like, concerned. There have been times where, like, sometimes if you're on the bus, you just start to get crabby. So Baz was starting to get kind of a little bit crabby. And, you know, instead of everyone just kind of being, like, grumpy, they're like, oh, like, you know, is she okay? And then I explained like, oh, she's just getting tired, kind of crabby. And so like one of the women was like, oh, here, and gave her like a little like candy, and was like adjusted the air conditioning stuff for her so Babs wouldn't be so hot, because it gets really hot on the bus. It's like people are just very, very nice about that kind of stuff. If a kid like falls or something, people are like immediately concerned, like, oh, like, are you okay? Like they're gonna ask like if you're okay and things like that. And so it's very, very like kid friendly, which is really, really nice. And that was kind of a little bit, in a way, kind of a culture shock, because of just how kid friendly everybody is. Like, they'll, even like little things like getting on and off the bus, like the bus is like, you're kind of having to be quick for the bus, and like the steps are kind of high, so I'll have to be like lifting Babs up, and people like will like move out of the way, or like, you know, hold out their hand to like help Babs like get up and things like that. And then even other things, like on the bus, like if seats are taken, people will get up so that Babs or the other kids can like take a seat, since they're, especially Babs, since she's so little, on the bus like starts and stops, they'll move out of the seat and be like, oh, like, you know, you can sit here, like have her sit here, because it's just like a little bit safer. And it's just like nice, because like you don't have to be like that, but it's just like culturally it feels like very kid friendly. Everyone is just really kind of like looking out kind of for the kids and letting them have like things. So a lot of times like restaurants will have like little kid areas. You know, there's like a lot of parks, a lot of things like geared towards kids, even like adult, and even in like a, you know, like space. Like there was like a festival kind of recently, and it was like a seafood festival, and like kind of like more geared a little bit towards adults. Like there was a flea market and stuff like that. But then they had like a separate kid section where like, hey, families, don't be worried, or like, yeah, like if you can't find a sitter, like you can bring your kids into this like kids play area while you get to like look around and things like that. And so it's just really, really kid friendly. So that was a culture shock. Like Babs definitely lives her best kid life here in Korea. Okay. Final touches. And there's definitely been some other things. Like I feel like this could be like another, you know what I mean? Like on another day, I'll be like, more culture shocks from living in Korea. But yeah, these have kind of been like the I wouldn't say big ones, but just like things that you just kind of notice right away where you're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I will say the last one. I'll give one more because this one is just always wild to me. You can just leave stuff places and people will not take it. I mean, the only thing you really have to worry about is like your umbrella, possibly. Like if you bring it's like super, and that's normally if you're like at like a workplace and you bring your umbrella, let's say other coworkers forgot your umbrella, like they might steal your umbrella to go home because they don't want to get rained on when they're walking. Really, that's the only thing you have to like really worry about. But like bags and stuff like that, like I love it. You can just leave your stuff anywhere and it's not gonna be touched. Like if you are at a cafe getting coffee and you have to go to the bathroom, you just leave your bag there and it's not getting touched. If you're on the beach and you lay your stuff out, you can just lay your stuff there. It's not getting touched. Even like things like, so I actually like we were out to eat with like friends and stuff like that, and we had taken a taxi back home, and I actually forgot my purse in the taxi. And my purse, of course, had everything at the time. It had my passport, it had my ARC card, it had money, it had debit card, it had credit card, it had all the things. So I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna find this back? The taxi driver had taken it to like, he, you know, sent me like a text on, cause like through like K-Taxi of basically being like, hey, well, first I called him and was like, hey, I left my bag. And he was like, no problem. But like my Korean is like getting better, but it's not great. So it's like, I could say that I left my bag, but I couldn't really like say like, how do I get this back from you? And so then he texted me back. It was like, hey, it'll be at like this police station. It was like the nearest police station on his route. And here in like Korea, like they have like a police like lost and found, where if you find something, you can bring it into the station and they'll like upload it and catalog it. And so then when I came in, luckily because it was really easy for me because all of my ID and stuff was in there. So I could be like, yeah, they could check it and be like, oh yeah, this is your stuff. But yeah, I just went in and like got my stuff. And I did this like the next day. Like it wasn't like a waiting period or like a whole thing. It was just like the next day I walked in, I was like, hey, I lost my bag. And they were like, oh, this one? And I was like, yep. And then they checked to make sure my face looked like my passport, and they were like, you're good to go. And then you have to fill out something else saying you're taking it just in case like someone were to come back and try to dispute it and be like, oh no, that was actually my bag. But even like little things, like if you're walking, you'll see like people will put like someone drop their bank card and they'll just stick it up somewhere so that you can see it, to be like, oh hey, they imagine someone will come back for it. So on one of our first days here in Koje, my son lost his bus card. We didn't even realize it. He lost it on the way to the apartment, and then we were leaving the apartment to go get coffee or something. And as we're like walking, my daughter like looks down at one of like the staffs. Like there's like these like cement column things that are by like, to keep you from like by like the crosswalk kind of things. And she like looked down, and she was like, Bear, isn't that your bus card? And we looked at it, and sure enough, that was his bus card. He had dropped it, and then someone just picked it up and put it there with the expectation that like eventually someone would notice they're missing their bus card and come back. So you could just leave, like, people are like really like good about that. And even like money, like you'll see like people just stick money on top of these things. If someone has dropped money, they'll just stick it on top for whoever has lost it to like come back and get it. We've seen like debit cards like that where some it's just like left there, and you like they'll just stick it there. And part of it is because there is a ton of CCTV in Korea. So if you do take something that's not yours, they will find out about it. Like if you lose something and you're like, hey, I lost it around this area and I haven't been able to find it. Like, and police pull up the CCTV and then they see that somebody took it and then like left with it. Like you'll be charged for theft because they're like, that wasn't yours. Like it's not like a finders keepers sort of thing. So people will just like leave it there. But yeah, you can put like, and obviously, again, you have to err on the side of caution with anything in this life, but just like in general, like you can be really, really quite like lax about that stuff. Like it's not going to get like, it's the chances of it being taken are incredibly rare. So you will see people's like bags just sitting in places. You'll see people like phones just randomly sitting in places because they'll be doing something and they'll just set it down and they'll walk away and they'll go get something and then they'll come back. Like it's just very like common. And that is not common in America, I would say, in most places. Definitely, like even in like a small town area where I am, I'm not gonna just leave my purse unattended, like nobody's around. I'm not gonna leave my purse on a chair in Starbucks in even a small town. Like even in the small town that I live, I would never do that. But like I would do that here. Same with like walking alone and stuff like that at night. It's like very, very safe. Like we walk at night all the time with no worries. Like we literally did it last night. That's one of our like favorite things is to take like super late night walks. Because that type of like mugging, random act of violence crime is just kind of rare in this particular like area. And again, I can't speak of like the whole of Korea, but I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people who've been to other areas in Korea, and this kind of lines up with their experiences in different areas too. Even like I said, when we were in Busan, and the population there is in the millions, so I don't think it's like a small town thing. I think it's just kind of how it is here. It's just like pretty safe. And like I said, with all the CCTV and stuff like that, it's not like you can really get away with a whole lot. But yeah, so that has been really, really nice. So I think I'll leave it there today for all the cultural kind of like shock things. And I want to do kind of like a snack geared video, so maybe we'll do that next time. But this time was just like interesting cultural things, so kind of like getting ready with me things. I feel like my bangs are being a lot nicer than they were the last time. And this is the kind of like look for the day. And actually, I really, really like this dress. So I'm just gonna show full. I got this dress here actually in Korea in one of like their markets, and I really, really like it. It's like just, I don't know, lightweight and kind of flowy, so I really like this dress, but it's like a little bit newer, so I feel more showy off of it. But yeah, it's got to be lightweight in this heat. So anyway, again, I will be trying to do this like weekly, and it will be, I'm hoping this one goes out this week. It'll be a little tough because of the whole computer situation, but I'm hoping to go and get that fixed when I have time this week. But I hate doing grown-up stuff like that, I'm gonna be honest. So it's not even that I won't have time, it's just if I feel motivated this week, I'll go do that. All right, so that's it. Bye. Hope you enjoyed these interesting little anecdotes.